multiple franchises in the city, but Cathy Core can. Starting in 1984, Cathy became the moving force behind pro basketball's best-known cheerleading squad, the Luvabulls. I love an audience like this. A huge part of the fabric of the Bulls game night experience, the Luvabulls, of course. Cathy was there every step of the way during the glory years of the 90s. She received 6 well-deserved championship pendants. And besides entertaining us over the decades, she led the Luvabulls to trips all over the world, representing the Bulls from Hong Kong to Beijing to France, Costa Rica, everywhere. And they carved out an international reputation. And those of you might have thought, well, boy, that's fantastic. That's enough right there. Well, guess what? Before she was with the Luvabulls, she was the director and choreographer for the Chicago Bears cheerleading squad, the Honey Bears. Yes! The Honey Bears! By the way, Cathy, was Cathy in high school at the time she was working with you? Yeah, that's what I thought. As you may recall, Cathy and the Honey Bears attended Super Bowl 20 in New Orleans. Am I right about that? Yes. One of her career highlights. And there's more. Cathy's been in demand over the years. She's worked with the Cubs, the Rush, the Sky, the Chicago Sting. She's helped everybody. She's also been hyperactive in charity and humanitarian work, especially a group called A New Day Cambodia, which led her to her family to sponsor 2 wonderful children. She's a big favorite in Bulls land. She's got lots of fans, and as a bonus, she's really, really nice. Let's welcome the Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Cathy Core.
Corey, I'm glad you mentioned the Honey Bears because they would have rioted right now. 50 years ago this month, I entered the convent of the Sisters of Charity in Morristown, New Jersey. And tonight, I find myself accepting this honor from the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame. Wow. If I had to write a prediction back in 1964 about where my life would be 50 years later, it certainly wouldn't be standing here tonight, but I'm very happy that I am. When Joe and I moved to Chicago in 1974, you can either blame him or credit him. I had never been to a professional football game or any professional sports game. I knew who the Chicago Bears were, but that was the extent of my knowledge. So you can imagine that when I received a phone call in 1976 from Jim Finks, then the general manager of the Bears, that I was surprised to say the least. I had been volunteering at my church and school as a cheerleading coach and working at a teachers' credit union in Westchester, Illinois. When I answered the phone that day, and yes, it was a landline, Jim Finks introduced himself and told me that someone recommended that he call me and discuss the possibility of starting a professional cheerleading squad for the Bears. I thought it was someone playing a joke on me, so I laughed, and I told him that I was Shirley Temple, and thanked him for the offer. He obviously knew I didn't believe him. Why would I? And he said that he would get back to me the next day. That night over dinner, I asked my husband, did he know the name Jim Finks and George Hallis? He told me who they were, and after I picked my jaw off the table, I told him the story. Later that night, a woman called and apologized for getting to me so late. She said she was one of the team moms for the cheerleading group that I was coaching and a friend of Ted Harris, who was then the PR director for the Bears. And she told me that I would be getting a call the next day, hopefully from Jim Finks. Since I had told Jim that I was Shirley Temple, I figured that ship had sailed without me. The next day I answered the phone at the credit union, and the voice on the other end said, "Shirley, this is Jim Finks. Can we talk?" That was the start of my professional career with cheerleaders and dancers. I was fortunate enough to be with the '85 Bears when they won the Super Bowl, and the Chicago Bulls for 29 years and 6 championships. What a run. Or should I say, what a dance. I have met a lot of famous and fabulous people and have traveled the world as part of my job. Nice, right? But I would not be standing here tonight if it were not for the fabulous women, I'm not going to cry, that I have met and worked with for almost 40 years. I'm so happy and honored to see so many of them here tonight. I have said this many times before. Without you, this wouldn't be happening. There are so many people to thank, and speaking especially of fabulous women, I want to thank Corinne Neerman Steinmiller. She was my partner in crime in the very beginning for the Chicago Bears. She worked at the Chicago Bears, and she will never forgive me because I made her try on the uniforms, the prototypes back in 1976 and 77. She'll never forgive me for doing that. I also want to thank Sharon Cooper-Watrick, who is the owner of A+ Talent Agency and hired me on as an agent when A+ took over managing the Honey Bears. There is a very special friend that I would like to acknowledge. My friend for close to 30 years. He was a most humble and inspiring man, always there for everyone who needed him. For those of you who are longtime Bear fans and know your Bears history, you will remember number 7, the Claw, as he was known, Ed Sprinkle. Ed passed away a few months ago, and we talked about him coming here tonight. And I know he's here in spirit. I want to thank his daughter Sue and her husband Dave for being here and bringing his spirit with them. Thanks to my sister and brother for traveling to Chicago to help me celebrate. Thank you to my friends who are here, especially the Ayahs and the Yos. Thank you, Jim Hogan, for your nomination. I appreciate it. And all the women that traveled from out of town to be here. I'm truly humbled. I can't even speak to that. And since you always save the best for last, I would like to thank my husband, Joe. For all that he has done to help me and encouraging me to go for it, and all that he has put up with over the years. And believe me, it was a lot. He brought me out here kicking and screaming in 1974, and I am still kicking and screaming, but now I call it dancing and cheering. Thank you to the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame for this honor, and I accept it on behalf of all fabulous women.